Toyota stood on stage last year and promised the 2025 Camry would be the most refined, most efficient, most thoroughly engineered sedan they'd ever sold in America. They weren't lying. The new car is genuinely better than the one it replaces in almost every measurable way. But buried in the spec sheet, hidden between the glowing press releases and the carefully staged commercial footage, sit 3 compromises that nobody at the launch event wanted to talk about. 3 things the marketing team would rather you didn't notice until after you'd signed the paperwork. And if you're shopping this car right now, you deserve to know exactly what those compromises are before you walk into a showroom. So let's talk about the 2025 Camry honestly. 5 real reasons it might be the smartest sedan purchase you can make this year, and 3 reasons you might want to pump the brakes and wait. I've spent weeks reading owner reports, dealer feedback, professional reviews from Edmunds and Consumer Reports, and looking at the early reliability data that's starting to trickle out. What I found is a car that's genuinely impressive but not perfect, and the difference between a great buy and a regret comes down to understanding which category you fall into. To understand why this matters, you need to understand what just happened. The 2025 Camry isn't a refresh. It isn't a mid-cycle update. It's the biggest philosophical shift Toyota has made to this nameplate in 2 decades. For the first time since the model existed in its modern form, you cannot buy a Camry with a pure gasoline engine. There's no 4-cylinder only trim, there's no V6, there's no naturally aspirated option for buyers who just want something simple. Every single 2025 Camry that rolls off the line in Georgetown, Kentucky is a hybrid. Every one. That's it. That's the lineup. Toyota is calling this their all-hybrid future, and they're not wrong to frame it that way. The Corolla, the RAV4, the Highlander, the Sienna, the Sequoia, the Tundra. The hybrid powertrain is spreading across the entire portfolio. The Camry is just the most visible example because it's been America's best-selling sedan for so long. When Toyota says the conventional gas Camry is done, that's a signal about where the entire industry is headed. And for buyers, it means the calculation you use to make about hybrids being a niche choice or a premium upgrade is finished. The hybrid is the car now. The only question left is whether this particular hybrid is the right one for your life. Here's what's under the hood. Toyota's 5th-generation hybrid system, which they're branding e-EV. In some markets, pairs a 2.5-liter Atkinson cycle 4-cylinder gasoline engine with 2 electric motors and a small lithium-ion battery pack. Combined output sits at roughly 225 horsepower in front-wheel drive trims, and the all-wheel drive version gets a small rear electric motor that pushes total output slightly higher and adds traction on demand. There's no transmission in the traditional sense. The old 8-speed automatic is gone, replaced by an electronically controlled, continuously variable system that Toyota engineers have spent years refining, specifically because they know enthusiasts hated the rubber band feel of the old CVTs. Now let's get into the first reason this car genuinely deserves your attention. Fuel economy. Toyota's official EPA estimate is 51 miles per gallon combined for the front-wheel drive LE trim, dropping to around 46 to 47 combined for the all-wheel drive variants and the higher trims that wear larger wheels. Those numbers alone are impressive. But what's more impressive is what Edmunds found during their independent real-world testing. Test units returned figures in the high 40s to low 50s on mixed commuting loops, and some highway-heavy runs nudged past 52 miles per gallon. Early data indicates that drivers with light feet in stop-and-go commutes are reporting 50+ consistently in owner forms. That's not a sticker number you have to chase with hypermiling tricks. That's just driving the car normally. For perspective on what that means in real dollars, if you commute 15,000 miles a year and gas in your region runs around $3.50, the difference between a 32 mile per gallon competitor and a 50 mile per gallon Camry works out to roughly $600 a year in your pocket. Over a 5-year ownership window, that's a used car's worth of savings sitting in your bank account instead of evaporating at the pump. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is the eCVT itself, and I know that sounds counterintuitive if you've ever driven a budget CVT and hated it. Hear me out. Toyota's hybrid transmission doesn't behave like a conventional CVT. There's no belt, no pulley system, no rubber band drone. It uses a planetary gear set with 2 electric motors managing the relationship between engine speed and wheel speed, which means the engine can run at its most efficient RPM while the motors handle the actual power delivery to the wheels. The old 8-speed automatic in the previous Camry was good, but it would sometimes hunt for gears under partial throttle. The new setup just gives you smooth, linear acceleration, with the engine note rising and falling naturally with demand. Reviewers from Consumer Reports' first look impressions noted it feels far closer to a refined torquey converter automatic than any CVT they'd previously driven. Reason number 3 is Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 And this is one of those upgrades that doesn't make for exciting commercials, but quietly changes the calculation for anyone who values not crashing. The new suite includes pre-collision braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection that works in low light, lane tracing assist that handles gentle curves without ping-ponging between lane markers, adaptive cruise control with curve speed management, road sign assist, and proactive driving assist that gently nudges your speed down when it senses a slower vehicle ahead. The previous generation had most of these features. The new generation has them tuned better, integrated more smoothly, and standard across the entire trim lineup, including the base car. You're not paying extra for safety to be competent here. It's just there. Reason number 4 is the interior. The previous Camry interior wasn't bad exactly, but it felt about a generation behind what Hyundai and Honda were doing. The 2025 model finally addresses that. The materials are noticeably nicer in the touchpoints. The dashboard architecture is cleaner, the available 12.3-inch infotainment screen is bright and responsive, and the seats have been redesigned with better lumbar support and longer thigh cushions for taller drivers. There's a more premium feel to the higher trims that genuinely competes with cars costing $5,000 more. The cabin has gotten quieter too, with additional sound deadening in the firewall, and wheel wells that makes highway cruising notably more relaxed than the outgoing model. And reason number 5 is the one nobody talks about until they go to trade in their car: resale value. Toyota Camrys hold their value better than almost anything else in the family sedan segment, and there's no reason to expect that to change. The Honda Accord is close, but the Camry consistently leads in 5-year residual projections from industry tracking sources. Hybrid Toyotas tend to hold their value even better than the gas equivalents because used buyers are increasingly hunting for them. So if you buy this car and decide 3 years from now that your life has changed and you need something different, you'll lose less money on the transaction than you would on virtually any competitor in the segment. That's not marketing fluff. That's a financial reality you can verify on any trade-in valuation site. So that's the case for buying. 5 real, defensible dollars and cents reasons the 2025 Camry deserves to be on your shortlist. Now let's talk about the 3 reasons you might want to wait, because they're just as real and just as important. The first reason to wait is the one I'd put highest on the list, and it's the one Toyota's marketing team really doesn't want you to think about. This is a first-year platform, a first-year hybrid-only Camry on a substantially revised powertrain layout. Even Toyota, which has the best reliability reputation in the business, sometimes ships first-year cars with teething issues that get sorted out by year 2 or 3. Software glitches in the infotainment, calibration tweaks for the hybrid system, small running changes to the suspension bushings or the climate control logic. These things happen, and they happen most often in the first model year of a new platform. Think about it like a new restaurant opening in its first month. The menu might be spectacular on paper, the chef might be talented, but the kitchen is still figuring out its rhythm, the servers are still learning the table layout, and the timing isn't quite dialed in yet. 6 months later, the same restaurant might be flawless. Or think about a major software update on launch day. Even Apple, even Microsoft, even the most polished teams in the world ship version 1.0 with bugs that get patched in the first few months. Cars work the same way. The 2026 model year Camry, with 12 months of warranty data and field reports feeding back to engineering, will almost certainly be a more refined version of this same car. If maximum proven reliability is your priority, waiting 1 model year is rarely a bad strategy. The second reason to wait is the infotainment. Toyota has moved aggressively toward touch-based controls for things that used to be physical buttons or knobs. Climate adjustments, audio settings, some of the drive mode toggles, they've all migrated into the touch screen or onto haptic feedback panels. If you've driven a car with proper buttons your whole life, this is an adjustment, and not everyone makes it gracefully. Reviewers have noted that adjusting fan speed or seat heat while driving now requires either a voice command or pulling your eyes off the road longer than the old physical controls demanded. Some of the early owner feedback has been positive, but a meaningful chunk of buyers, especially those moving from earlier Camrys, have flagged it as a real frustration. If you hate touchscreens for primary controls, this is something to test drive before you buy, not after. The third reason to wait depends on what you actually need from a sedan. The all-wheel drive version of the 2025 Camry packages its rear electric motor in a way that eats into trunk capacity. The front-wheel drive car has roughly the same useful cargo room as the outgoing model, but the AWD trim loses a noticeable chunk to the rear motor housing and the slightly relocated battery layout. If you regularly load the trunk with luggage, sports equipment, work gear, or anything that benefits from maximum cargo flexibility, the compromise matters. Add to that the fact that the new Camry has no V6 option for buyers who used to value that engine for occasional light towing, hauling, or just confident highway passing power, and you've got a real argument for considering a low-mileage used 2024 V6 Camry as an alternative if your needs lean toward utility over efficiency. Now let's put all of this together in a way that actually helps you make the call. Here's how to think about it. If you're a daily commuter, you drive a lot of miles a year, and your top priority is fuel economy and lower running costs, the 2025 Camry is a strong buy right now. The 50 plus miles per gallon you'll see in real-world commuting will offset the higher starting price within the first 3 years of ownership. And you'll be sitting in a more refined, safer, quieter car than the outgoing model the entire time. Don't wait. Buy it. If your priority is maximum proven reliability, you keep cars for 10 or 15 years, and you've been burned before by first year of platform quirks, wait. Let the 2026 model year arrive. Let Toyota's running changes filter through. Let the early adopters report their pain points and let Toyota address them. You'll get the same car, slightly better sorted, for roughly the same money. The Camry isn't going anywhere. A 12-month patience tax is small insurance for someone who values being the second mouse to the cheese. And if you need towing capacity, maximum trunk space, or the simple confidence of a V6 under the hood, the 2025 Camry probably isn't the right car for you at all. Look at a low-mileage 2024 V6 XSE on the used market while inventory still exists. Look at the Honda Accord, which still offers a turbo gas option alongside its hybrid. Look at a midsize SUV if your hauling needs are bigger than a sedan trunk can comfortably swallow. There's no shame in admitting that Toyota's all-hybrid pivot doesn't align with your specific use case. The car is excellent for the buyer it was designed for. It just wasn't designed for every buyer. One thing worth noting on pricing. The starting MSRP on the 2025 Camry has crept up compared to the 2024, partly because the hybrid powertrain is now standard equipment rather than an upgrade. You're not really paying more for less, you're paying more for a different baseline, but if your budget is tight and you are used to the entry pricing of the old 4-cylinder LE, the new floor will feel higher. Test the numbers against your monthly payment limit before you fall in love at the showroom. So that's the honest picture. A genuinely improved car with 3 real catches that the marketing won't mention. A clear buy for some of you, a wait for others, and a pass for a smaller group whose needs the new platform just doesn't serve. The 2025 Camry is one of the most thoroughly engineered family sedans on the market right now, and for the right driver, it might be the best purchase decision you make this year. For the wrong driver, it'll be a year of small frustrations that a little patience or a different model could have prevented. Which side of the line are you on? If you're shopping this car right now, drop a comment and tell me which trim you're considering. The base LE, the SE, the XLE, the XSE, or the all-wheel drive variant. And tell me what's driving the decision. Fuel economy, resale, a long commute, cargo needs? I read every comment, and I genuinely like to know how this lineup is landing with real buyers in real driveways. Your input shapes the next comparison I put together, so don't hold back. The more specific you are, the better the next breakdown gets. Hit subscribe if this kind of honest buyer guide breakdown is what you came for, and I'll see you on the next one.